There is a moment that comes for every one of us. A moment when the body stops. When the breath no longer rises. When the heart beats its final rhythm and falls silent. And in that silence, something extraordinary happens. Something Edgar Cayce spent decades trying to help us understand. Because what happens in the first moments after death is not what most people think. It is not darkness. It is not nothingness. It is not sleep. It is a transition so powerful, so sudden, so complete, that the soul itself experiences what Cayce called a vibrational shock. And if you do not know what to expect, if you have not prepared your consciousness for this shift, you may make the one mistake that delays your journey home for longer than you can imagine. You are here because you sense there is more. Because you have felt the pull of something beyond this world. Because grief or illness or loneliness has opened a door in your heart that logic cannot close. And through that door, you are beginning to see the truth. You are beginning to remember. You are not your body. You never were. You are a soul. And your soul has done this before. Many times. But this time, this life, this death that is coming, it matters more than you know. Because the state of your mind right now, today, in this very moment, is already shaping what will happen to you in those first sacred moments after you leave. Edgar Cayce was clear. Death is not an ending. It is a doorway. But not all doorways lead to the same place. And not all souls move through that doorway with ease. Some float upward into light and peace and reunion with those they love. Others hover near the body, confused, calling out, unable to release their grip on the life they just left. Some are met by guides and angels and loved ones who have crossed before. Others are met by something else. Beings who feed on fear. Beings who wait in the space between worlds for souls who do not know where they are going. Cayce warned us. He told us that the first moments after death are determined not by chance, not by fate, but by the vibration you carry with you when you go. Let us begin at the very beginning. The final breath. You have watched someone take it, or you will. It comes soft, or it comes struggling, but it comes. And in that instant, the silver cord that Cayce spoke of, the cord that connects your soul to your body, it snaps. Not slowly, not gently. It snaps like a thread pulled too tight. And the soul is flung free. Flung out of the density of flesh and bone and blood, and into a space that has no weight, no time, no rules. Cayce called this the vibrational shock. Because the soul, which has been compressed into a body for decades, suddenly expands. It expands so fast that many souls do not recognize themselves. They look down and see their body lying still. They see the room. They see the people. But they do not yet understand that they are no longer part of that scene. They are above it now. Outside of it. Watching it like a memory that belongs to someone else. This is where the first mistake happens. This is where so many souls go wrong. They panic. They try to go back. They reach for the body. They call out to the people in the room. They do not understand that the body is finished. That it was only ever a vehicle. A suit of skin worn for a season. And now the season is over. But if the soul has lived a life full of fear, full of attachment, full of anger or bitterness or regret, it does not want to leave. It clings, it hovers. It stays near the body, near the house, near the people it loved or hated or hurt. And it becomes what Cayce called earthbound, stuck, trapped between two worlds. Not fully dead. Not fully alive, just lost. But for the soul that is ready, for the soul that has lived with awareness, with love, with gratitude, with faith, the transition is different. There is no panic. There is no clinging. There is only release. And in that release, the soul begins to rise. Not up in the way we think of up. Not toward the sky. But up in vibration. Up in frequency. up into a realm that exists all around us, layered over this one. Invisible to the physical eyes, but blazing with light and color and sound to the soul that can finally see it. Cayce described this realm as the borderland, the threshold, the place where the soul pauses before moving deeper into the afterlife. And it is here, in this borderland, that you are met. Some are met by loved ones. A grandmother who passed years ago. A child who left too soon. A husband or wife or friend whose face brings instant relief and recognition. They come close. They speak without words. They guide the soul forward, deeper into the light, deeper into peace. But others are met by guides. Beings of pure energy and wisdom who have never lived in flesh. Beings who exist only to help souls make this crossing. Cayce called them ministers of light. And they do not judge. They do not punish. They simply show you the way. They take your hand and they lead you toward the place where your soul will rest and review and heal before deciding what comes next. But not everyone is met by light. Cayce was very clear about this. There are also beings in the borderland who are not there to help. They are there to deceive, to confuse, to pull you down into lower realms where fear and guilt and shame create illusions that feel as real as life itself. These beings are not demons in the way religion describes them. They are not fallen angels or creatures of hell. They are simply souls who chose darkness over light. Souls who fed on others while alive and continue to do so after death. And they are drawn to the souls who carry the same energy, the same anger, the same bitterness, the same fear. This is why Cayce taught that the thoughts you think in life matter so deeply. Because thoughts are energy, and energy does not die. It follows you. It clings to your soul like a scent. And in the first moments after death, that scent draws to you whatever matches it. If your last thoughts were of love, you will be drawn toward love. If your last thoughts were of fear, you will be drawn toward fear. If your last thoughts were of regret, of guilt, of anger, of revenge, of blame, you will find yourself in a place that reflects those thoughts back to you in form so vivid, so convincing, that you may believe you are being punished by God, but you are not. You are only experiencing the natural law of vibration. Like attracts like, energy seeks its own level. And the soul, newly freed from the body, moves instantly toward the frequency it knows best. Cayce spoke often of the silver cord. The cord that binds the soul to the body during life. It is not a physical cord. You cannot see it. But it is real. It is the channel through which the soul feeds energy into the body, and through which the body sends sensations back to the soul. When you dream, the cord stretches thin, allowing the soul to travel while the body rests. But it never breaks. Not until death. And when it does break, the sensation is unmistakable. Cayce described it as a sudden jolt. A release so complete that the soul feels lighter than air. Free, weightless, and for a moment, there is joy. Pure, overwhelming joy. Because the soul remembers, even if only for an instant, that it was never meant to be confined. It was never meant to carry the heaviness of flesh. It was meant to fly, but that joy does not last long for every soul. Because the mind, the ego, the part of you that believed you were the body, it does not let go so easily. It begins to question. It begins to doubt. It looks around and sees the room, the people, the body lying still, and it thinks, this cannot be real. I cannot be dead. I was just here. I was just breathing. I was just thinking. And so the soul tries to go back. It hovers over the body. It tries to move the hand, the mouth, the eyes. It tries to speak. But nothing happens. The body does not respond. And the confusion deepens. This is the moment when many souls cry out. When they reach for their loved ones, calling their names, begging to be seen, to be heard. But the living cannot hear them. The living are still locked inside the physical frequency. And the soul has already shifted beyond it. Cayce said that this confusion can last for hours, days, even weeks, depending on how attached the soul was to the life it just left. Some souls wander the rooms of their homes, sitting in their favorite chairs, standing by the windows, watching the people they love move through their grief. They do not understand why no one looks at them, why no one speaks to them. They feel invisible, forgotten, and the pain of that isolation is worse than any physical pain they ever felt in life. This is why Cayce urged us to prepare, to spend our lives loosening the grip of attachment, to practice letting go, to understand that we are not the body, not the job, not the relationships, not the possessions. We are the soul, and the soul's true home is not here. For those who understand this, for those who have lived with awareness, the transition is swift and smooth. They do not linger. They do not look back. They move forward with trust, with faith, with curiosity. And they are greeted. In the borderland, they are met by a presence so warm, so familiar, so filled with love that all fear dissolves instantly. Sometimes it is a relative. Sometimes it is a guide. Sometimes it is simply a light, a glow, a feeling of home so strong that the soul rushes toward it without hesitation. And as they move closer, they begin to see others. Souls who have crossed before them. Souls who are waiting, welcoming, celebrating their arrival. There is no judgment here. No punishment. No weighing of sins. There is only love. Only acceptance. Only the deep, unshakable knowing that you are exactly where you are meant to be. But Cayce also warned of something else. Something darker. In the borderland, not all presences are benevolent. There are entities, souls, energies that exist in the lower realms, and they are attracted to souls who are afraid, confused, angry, or guilty. These entities do not have power over you unless you give it to them. But if you believe them, if you follow them, if you accept the illusions they create, you can become trapped in a hell of your own making. Not a hell created by God, not a pit of fire and demons, but a mental construct. A loop of thought and emotion that repeats endlessly because the soul does not know how to break free. Cayce described these lower realms as thought forms made solid. He said that guilt, shame, and fear are so powerful in the afterlife that they can create entire worlds, entire landscapes, entire lifetimes of suffering that feel completely real to the soul experiencing them. And the only way out is forgiveness. The only way to break the loop is to forgive yourself, to release the guilt, to stop punishing yourself for the mistakes you made in life. But for many souls, that forgiveness does not come easily. They have spent years, decades, lifetimes believing they are bad, believing they are unworthy, believing they deserve to suffer. And so they do. Not because God wills it, but because they will it. Because the soul creates its own reality in the afterlife, just as it does in life, only faster, more vividly, more absolutely. This is why your thoughts today matter. This is why the energy you carry right now, in this moment, is already shaping your death. If you live in fear, you will die in fear. If you live in love, you will die in love. If you spend your days judging others, blaming others, resenting others, you will carry that resentment with you into the next world, and it will become your prison. But if you spend your days forgiving, releasing, trusting, surrendering, you will carry that peace with you, and it will become your freedom. Cayce spoke of the life review. It does not happen in the first moments after death, but it comes soon after. Once the soul has stabilized, once it has moved through the shock and the confusion and the borderland, it enters a space where it must look back. Not with judgment from God, not with punishment from angels, but with the eyes of truth. The soul sees its entire life. Every moment, every choice, every word spoken, every thought held, And it sees not only what it did, but how it made others feel. It experiences every hurt it caused, every act of kindness, every moment of love or cruelty or indifference. And in that review, the soul judges itself far more harshly than any external force ever could. This is what Cayce called the Akashic record, the record of all that has been. Every soul that has ever lived, every action ever taken, every thought ever formed, it is all recorded. And when you die, you step into that record and you see yourself clearly for the first time. You see the truth of who you were, not the story you told yourself, not the image you showed the world, but the actual energy you carried, the actual impact you made. And for many souls, this review is devastating, because they realize how much they hurt the people they loved, how many opportunities they wasted, how much time they spent in anger, in fear, in selfishness. And they wish desperately that they could go back, that they could do it differently. But they cannot. The life is finished. The chapter is closed. And all that remains is the learning, the understanding, the growth that comes from seeing yourself with perfect clarity. But here is the gift. Here is the mercy that Cayce spoke of again and again. The soul is never condemned. It is never cast out. It is never told that it is too broken, too sinful, too lost to be loved. No matter how dark the life was, no matter how many mistakes were made, the soul is always given another chance. Not immediately, not without rest and healing and reflection, but eventually, the soul is allowed to return, to incarnate again, to try again, to take the lessons it learned in the life review and apply them in a new body, in a new sign, in a new set of circumstances. This is the cycle Cayce described. Birth, life, death, review, rest, rebirth. Over and over, lifetime after lifetime, the soul learns, grows, evolves, until it no longer needs the physical world to teach it. Until it has mastered love, compassion, forgiveness, service, and surrender. And only then does it move beyond the cycle. Only then does it return fully to the source, to God, to the oneness from which it came. But in the first moments after death, none of this is known yet. In the first moments, the soul is simply adjusting. It is learning to see without eyes, to hear without ears, to move without legs. It is learning that it can travel by thought, that if it thinks of a place, it is there. If it thinks of a person, it is with them. This is why so many people report feeling the presence of a loved one who has just died. They feel them near. They sense them in the room. They catch a scent, a sound, a flicker of movement that should not be there. And they are right. The soul is there. For a time. For a brief, precious window after death, the soul lingers near the people it loved, watching, comforting, saying goodbye in the only way it can. Not with words, but with presence, with energy, with the soft touch of a thought sent from one heart to another. Cayce said that this is sacred time. Time that should not be wasted in guilt or regret or desperate clinging. Time that should be filled with love, with gratitude, with release. If you are the one dying, use this time to forgive, to let go, to trust that the people you are leaving behind will be okay. And if you are the one left behind, speak to them, out loud or in your mind. Tell them it is okay to go. Tell them you will be okay. Tell them you love them, because they hear you, they feel you, and your words become a bridge that helps them cross. But there's a warning here too. A warning that Cayce repeated in reading after reading. Do not call the dead back. Do not beg them to stay. Do not chain them to the earth with your grief. Because if you do, they will stay. Not in body, but in spirit. They will linger, unable to move forward, trapped by your need, by your sorrow, by your refusal to let them go. And this is a tragedy. For them and for you. because they cannot complete their journey and you cannot complete yours. Grief is natural. Grief is holy. But grief must also have an ending. It must soften into acceptance, into peace, into the quiet knowing that death is not separation. It is only transformation. The soul you loved has not disappeared. It has only changed form. And one day, when your time comes, you will meet again. In the first hours after death, the soul begins to adjust to its new reality. It begins to understand that it is still conscious, still aware, still itself. And slowly, the fear fades. The confusion lifts. And something else takes its place. Wonder, awe, a deep, breathless recognition that everything it was taught about death was wrong. That death is not an ending, but a beginning. Not a loss, but a return. Not a darkness, but a light so bright, so vast, so all-encompassing that it makes every earthly joy seem pale in comparison. And in that light, the soul remembers. It remembers where it came from. It remembers why it came to earth. It remembers the plan it made before birth, the lessons it chose to learn, the people it agreed to meet, the love it promised to share. And it understands, perhaps for the first time, that nothing was wasted. That every moment of pain, every moment of joy, every moment of confusion or clarity or doubt or faith, it all mattered. It all served. It all brought the soul one step closer to the truth. And now we come to the most important part. The part that Cayce wanted every living soul to understand. The first moments after death are not random. They are not luck. They are not determined by how good you were, how much you prayed, how often you went to church. They are determined by the vibration you carry, by the energy you have built, day by day, thought by thought, choice by choice, throughout your entire life. And that vibration is being built right now, in this very moment, by what you think, by what you feel, by what you focus on, by what you allow into your heart and mind. If you spend your days consumed by fear, by worry, by anger, by resentment, by bitterness, by judgment, you are building a vibration of darkness. And when you die, that darkness will follow you. It will shape what you see, where you go, who you meet. It will pull you down into the lower realms, into the thought forms of guilt and shame, into the illusions that feel like punishment, but are only reflections of your own unhealed pain. And you will stay there, trapped, suffering, until you learn to forgive yourself, until you learn to release the past, until you learn to choose love over fear. But if you spend your days in gratitude, in kindness, in service, in compassion, in forgiveness, in love, you are building a vibration of light. And when you die, that light will carry you upward. It will draw to you guides and angels and loved ones who will meet you with open arms. It will lead you swiftly through the borderland and into the realms of peace and healing and joy. It will make your transition smooth, gentle, effortless, because you are already aligned with the frequency of the afterlife. You are already vibrating at the level of love. This is not religion. This is not belief. This is law. Spiritual law. The law of attraction. The law of vibration. The law that governs all of existence, both here and beyond. And Cayce spent his entire life teaching us this law so that we would not have to learn it the hard way, in the confusion and shock of the first moments after death. He wanted us to know now, while we are still alive, still breathing, still able to change. Because the truth is, we are dying every day. Every moment, cells are dying and being reborn. Every breath, we are letting go of the past and stepping into the present. And every choice we make is practice for the final choice. The choice we will make in the last seconds of life, when the body shuts down and the soul prepares to leave. Will we choose fear, or will we choose love? Will we cling, or will we release? Will we panic, or will we trust? Cayce said that death is easy for those who have lived with awareness. For those who have spent their lives preparing, practicing, learning to let go. But death is hard for those who have lived unconsciously. For those who have spent their lives running, hiding, distracting, numbing, denying. Because death strips away all illusions. It reveals the truth. And if you have not faced that truth in life, you will be forced to face it in death. And it will feel like being torn apart. Like being exposed. Like being judged. But you are not being judged by God. You are being judged by yourself. By the part of you that knows the truth. The part that has always known. The part that you have been running from your entire life. So what do you do? How do you prepare? How do you build the vibration that will carry you safely through the first moments after death and into the light? Cayce gave us simple instructions. Meditate, pray, forgive, serve, love. Practice letting go. Practice surrender. Practice trust. Every day, take a moment to release your grip on the world. On your plans, your worries, your fears, your attachments. Every day, remind yourself that you are not the body. You are the soul. And the soul is eternal. It cannot be hurt. It cannot be lost. It cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed. And transformation is what this entire journey is about. In the first moments after death, you will be what you have always been. Not what you pretended to be. Not what you wished you were. But what you actually are in the deepest core of your being. And if that core is filled with love, you will be met by love. If it is filled with fear, you will be met by fear. If it is filled with peace, you will be met by peace. If it is filled with guilt, you will be met by guilt. This is the law. This is the truth. This is what Edgar Cayce dedicated his life to teaching us. And this is what you need to know now today, before it is too late. Because the first moments after death are not the time to start learning. They are the time to remember everything you have already learned. And if you have not learned it yet, if you have not spent your life preparing, you will be lost. Not forever, but for a time. And that time will feel like an eternity. So choose. Choose now. Choose love. Choose forgiveness. Choose surrender. Choose trust. Choose to let go of the anger, the resentment, the bitterness, the blame. Choose to see yourself as a soul, not a body. Choose to live each day as if it were your last, because one day it will be. And on that day, the vibration you have built will carry you home. Or it will keep you wandering in the dark, searching for a light you cannot find because you did not build it within yourself. Cayce said it clearly. Heaven and hell are not places. They are states of consciousness. And you are creating your heaven or your hell right now, in this moment, with every thought you think, every word you speak, every choice you make. So choose wisely. Choose love. And when the time comes, when the final breath leaves your body and the silver cord snaps and your soul is flung free into the light, you will not be afraid. You will not be confused. You will simply smile, and you will rise, and you will go home. And you will finally understand that death was never the end. It was always just the beginning.